For some reason, back in the 80s and 90s, the black tactical vest look was so cool. If you tried that anywhere past like 2004, you kind of looked like a dweeb. But I would argue the guys who made that look cool weren't SWAT guys, but Delta Force members. Those who wore the beautiful TG Faust SF body armor. And today, that's exactly what we're gonna talk about here on the Gear Locker. Let's get into it. Now, as I mentioned, the black vest that you see on Delta guys from Panama to Mogadishu and even beyond is this TG Faust SF body armor. However, of course, they did their own modifications to it, because nothing for Delta was good enough. Now, here's a little bit of history. TG Faust was a company out of Reading, Pennsylvania that produced these vests from the 1980s to the 2000s. The government did buy quite a few of these. However, there is also an article stating from, I believe, May of 1994, a police force using these as well. They weren't nearly as big as ABA, but TG Faust did make their name on the industry. This style of body armor was one of the first that bridged the gap between hard armor and soft armor, with a wraparound style that allowed for plates in the front as well. Some models and variants did allow for plates in the back, but the ones that I have here today do not. I should also note before we go forward, these are reproductions that I have here, which we'll talk about the best repros to get, but all the info that I'm talking about is based on the real ones. Now, as I mentioned, this allows for soft and hard armor protection, with the soft being approximately level 3A with that Kevlar 2.9 material, most likely from what we can tell, and a plate that goes in the front. There are TG Faust plates, which I believe go up to about a level 3 or level 4 protection, but I'll throw some pictures on screens that we do have. This vest here is a two-part system with a front plate bag and a rear plate bag, really a full coverage piece. The soft armor does expand to the entirety of this inner bag, although the hard armor sits right outside. There is a Velcro slot right here that you can slap your plate in, which is a standard 10x12 Sappy style plate. I don't believe it was called Sappy back then. The cummerbund is very basic, with 3 elastic pieces right here that connect to a front portion with a lot of Velcro. This is one of the key areas that was modified, and we'll talk about that, of course. The shoulder straps do separate, and there is Velcro on the inside up here. Of course, if you're familiar with any of that GWAT style beautiful body armor, you'll know that a neck protector can go here. And, similar fashion, a groin protector can slip underneath in this Velcro spot here. So you can get full coverage out of a vest like this. For every single picture I've seen, especially in Mogadishu, neither of those accessories were used. I could show you the inside, but really there's nothing interesting about it because this is a reproduction. However, I am kind of particular about the detail. So one of the things that I've produced and put on my Patreon is a TG Faust label. You can print that out on the same material that they used, slap it on the inside, and bam, there you go. You would have one that looks way more authentic. Nobody would be able to see it but you, but it's still kind of cool. And on the mention of Patreon, if you like what you see, just like and comment on these videos. I love the engagement that you guys have, but if you want to support more, YouTube memberships, Patreon, with exclusive files and kit lists, all of that is there for you guys if you do want to support more. But these things were the key body armor pieces on Delta Force members for a couple major operations. Some of the earliest uses that are widespread that I can find are in Panama with Operation Acid Gambit and of course Just Cause. Although I will say I did see many more of these in the Modelo prison raid, the Operation Acid Gambit to be specific. There are plenty of photos of them out and about in Panama without these vests, but rest assured they are there, and of course pictures are flashing on screen. And this is where we start seeing the modifications to this vest. Now the modifications they did on these things were extensive, but a couple baseline standard mods were done to pretty much everyone that were seen on SF guys. These include all of this beautiful Velcro on the front and these small hanging tabs here. While some people will claim that they were used for mounting strike rigs, that's factually just not true. There's barely any evidence that supports that theory. In fact, these were made to hang general accessories such as a front panel. But again, these weren't used to hang strike vests, so stop doing that. For all you FARB Delta kit guys, there's a video coming out for you, just hang tight. But the most famous association with this body armor piece is, of course, the Battle of Mogadishu. Some people call it the Black Hawk Downtime. But these vests were everywhere with the Delta guys, and in fact, some Ranger guys even had these as well. In reading the Black Hawk Down book, it's noted that guys who were part of the Rangers did get some of these if they were a little bit later to the line, so to speak, and they didn't have yet the RBAs. Those RBAs came not long after for them though, and they often swapped them right back out. But there is photo evidence of Ranger guys using these too. Now again, Delta Force did have a standard modification procedure. They had that front Velcro and the hanging tabs, but you can also do other modifications, such as the one you see here. This vest is a very tall boy. This is a custom-made one for GMB Solutions, which he later modified with the Delta mods, which we'll talk about here. So it is tall and skinny, not exactly to the same scale as the other one, and looks just fine when it's on a person. The first thing that you'll notice though is right here, this holster. This is copied one-to-one off of a real photo of a TG Faust that was modified by a Delta operator. This fits a 1911 beautifully. Let's check that out. Bam, there you go. Hangs tight, right in there, not coming out for sure. Just so this thing stays up, I'm gonna take this out. If you guys wanna see a video on this, let me know. Whoa. And now we move down to that cummerbund area. As I mentioned, this is a popular spot to do modifications, and you'll see a ton of little pouches and small slots to attach accessories. Whether they're for flexi cuffs, chem lights, multi-tools, you name it, all of these can fit in these small pockets here. They're not very expandable, there's not a lot of room, but there's plenty of evidence of these being actually used well. Which gets to my favorite modification that was done, one that you actually can't see right now. If I were to remove this, sure, you have some more webbing pieces here, but on this side, we include a radio pouch. Commonly, radio pouches in the strike vests were the ones that were used to carry the Motorola's, but this is another pouch that could be used to hold whatever, but commonly fits a radio beautifully. Keeps it just a little tighter to the body and does not require a strike vest to be used. Damn, this is such a cool looking one. And let's talk briefly about where you can get vests like these. If you can find an original of these, which are usually just being sold by private sellers, and it's not a ridiculous price, please buy it up and let me know. I'll pay you probably double for it. These things are uber rare. So the reproductions are gonna be the way to go. And unfortunately, as far as I know, there's really only a couple reputable manufacturers that will make these. The ones that I have are originally from Squadron Sew Shop. I got these both secondhand, so not from Squadron Sew Shop himself, but from someone who bought from him, and they have lasted the test of time beautifully. Whether they were used or just kept on display, they look brand spanking new with that little bit of old twinge. Keep in mind there are lead times involved with Squadron Sew Shop, and with the tariffs right now, I'm not sure how that's gonna all work out, but these things are some of the top in quality. I do know that GMB Solutions has made them as well, and we're gonna talk about some of his work in another video, but I'm not sure if he's producing these at the moment. If you contact him and he will produce one for you, you know you're getting a USA made top quality product. But then that brings us to the other one. I don't have one of those examples, but I do know people that do, and those are from Shekin Gears. Shekin Gears does something with their TG Faust vests that's kind of gross and not the most period correct. The intention is there, but execution-wise, it's not good. We're gonna talk more about this in detail, but some of the threading that they use is way too bright and stands out far too much, so it is not at all accurate to what the original TG Faust threading was. Dimensionally and price-wise, it's probably the best bang for your buck. They're typically around the mid 100 range. If you want to get one with a custom backpack attachment on the back, you can do that for a little bit more. And honestly, if you really want to fix the white threading, go over it with some Sharpie or some kind of marker, and it'll probably make it look just a little bit better. But if you want to get one that'll be the most period accurate to what was historically used and be a reputable seller, get one from Squadron Sew Shop. So with that being said, we've got a ton more Delta stuff coming up. If you guys want to see videos on the whole Delta sphere, whether we're talking about Mogadishu stuff, Panama stuff, even some other kits here and there, let me know in the comments below. And if you sign up for the Patreon, you can get backstage looks at some of the projects I'm working on. So if you really want to know what's going on and what's coming up, check it out there. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of history about the TG Faust vest, but also my showcase of the Squadron Sew Shop ones. This is the Gear.Locker again. Did I say that already? Probably did. I've been doing that a lot lately. Catch you guys in the next one. Imagine if I wasn't recording that whole time. That would be very bad.